Center, the most hostile and deadly area on Spiro, where dinos roam the plains like wild buffalo, and carnos camp for every single fresh spawn that dares to try and exist. This is the area I naturally decided that my cerato should call home. In fact, she was born in Center Spawn, and for the sake of making my own life difficult, she cannot leave Center Spawn until she reaches 100% growth. Boundaries were set within a space that felt naturally part of the spawn zone, essentially trapping me between the forest edge and the Center River, and then no further east than the path down into Gully and the hills a bit before Center Cliffs. I spawned into Center with nothing but a hope that I wouldn't have to start my life by crossing Center River. I got lucky, and though there wasn't much food around, as a cerato I could at least eat the bones left by other carnivores that had passed through before me. From minute 1 I could hear carnos. At least 3, possibly more, yelling the way carnos do as they raced around in my minuscule territory. As a result, there was very little by way of actual food, and any time I did happen to smell something more than bones, the carnos were there, ready to absolutely annihilate me if given the chance. I aimed to stay on the move as much as possible, lingering in one place for no more than 3 minutes at a time, unless there was immediate danger in my line of sight. Bush camping between meals was out of the question, as this wouldn't be much of a challenge otherwise. After about 30 minutes, I still hadn't managed to find any real food. Bones were fine, but I needed substantial nutrition, or I would be unable to actually activate my diets. So when I spotted a small raptor, I knew I had to try and catch it. I failed. The tiny thing was too quick and agile, so it vanished into the tall grass. What little diets I had continued to drain, and now that the carnos had moved west, other ceratos began moving in. One of them had killed a baby carno nearby, leaving the body behind untouched. This was exactly what I needed. A fresh carcass would have organs, offering substantial nutrition. I waited though, nervous that the other cerato might return for his kill. When he did not, and another smaller baby approached the food, I moved in to take what I wanted. This guy seems like he'll eat everything if I don't get in here. I'm bigger than him. I'll take what I want. Taking those, thank you. Not quite enough to activate it. As soon as I could, I got away and headed for the river. Center River is generally teeming with dinos. As the shiny new toys have begun to wear off, dino populations have increased dramatically once again. Luckily for me, this section of the river is quite shallow. Not even a small dino can hope to get an ambush here without incredible skill or a very unaware target. With my water filled up, I returned to watch the baby cerato that I had eaten with earlier. He didn't last long standing in the open as he was. A raptor came through and smote him where he stood. I didn't see the raptor leave, but I had been in one bush for too long, and I hoped to find more intestines to activate my final diet bar. So I raced toward the bush where I'd seen the raptor drag his kill. I didn't find the cerato carcass, but the raptor was AFK and still bleeding. Poor guy. His was a worthy sacrifice for my continued survival. The peace didn't last long, though, as a baby carno smelled my meal and came to have a snack.
Yep. I see him.
This was mine, and I wasn't going to let some freshly spawned carno take my food after I'd been scavenging for so long. But of course, my defense of said meal couldn't last. The adult carnos returned, having found nothing substantial in the northwest, and proceeded to snag my food from me. As soon as I felt it was safe enough, I decided it was time to move. With the Carnos hanging around the northern side of my territory, I didn't want to stick around and risk being seen. Traveling is a dangerous business. Between the Carnos and other ceratos, I was constantly diving for cover. I kept getting lucky though. Oblivious players are decently common in the Isle, and a tiny cerato's footsteps aren't often enough to catch their attention.
Oh, I'm in trouble. Oh, I'm in trouble. Oh, I'm in trouble.
As night falls, it is time for water once again.
No, this is not a good place. We are not drinking here. No. Oh, and that's exactly why. No. See, I told you.
Hooray for this shallow area. With so many dinos in the river, I don't think I would have survived the first hour without it. Finally, above 50% growth, I was beginning to feel a bit more anxious. Halfway there, and nothing horrible has happened yet. But if I die now, I'll have to start all over again. Which is exhausting. Just as I began to think that this challenge was going to be a piece of cake, I hit my first snag. Having heard raptors in the area, I attempted to move further away from where they were barking, only to run almost directly into two of them. I've not fought many raptors as cerato, and haven't fought any at all as a fresh adult. Unwilling to give them free pounces, what with the lack of pounce recovery allowing them to fly around like circus performers, I decided to use the bush and my very threatening sounding charged bite to help them reconsider hunting me. My plan actually worked, and the pair backed off long enough for me to escape without being seen. When they returned moments later to search for me, I was safely tucked away up the hill instead. Looking back though, I wished I had stuck around and hunted them. Food was about to get incredibly scarce, and I was not prepared for what was to come. After making another loop of my territory, I was beginning to worry. My food bar was getting lower by the minute, and everything dead I could smell was well outside my perimeter. It had been a while since I'd seen or heard anything huntable either, as everyone appeared to have moved toward the northwest. I don't normally kill fresh spawns. I hate doing so, especially when I'm no longer a baby myself. But desperate times called for desperate measures. A little fuller and slightly less worried, I continued my loop. I couldn't risk missing anything edible that crossed my threshold anymore. Cerato is ravenous, and though I previously felt their food drain was slow, now I was beginning to feel it steadily ticking down with each minute my space remained barren of life. So when I heard a small raptor get to its feet after I entered the bush it was lying in, I reacted quickly to snatch another morsel of food. There's a raptor in here. Hello. Sorry about that. But you'll do to fill my stomach nicely. Unfortunately, a small raptor doesn't really do much for a cerato, and the Carnos had moved back in again, pinning me down and eating everything before they finally moved on. The sun rose with my poor cerato growing increasingly desperate. I found nothing but a dead compy and some glitched out organs. There wasn't a sign of life anywhere. When I started this challenge, I figured it would be difficult. But this is not what I expected. Slowly starving to death from a distinct lack of others in my space. Everyone seemed to be hunting and dying just outside of my range, leaving me wandering desperately around, hoping to spot literally anything at all before I simply died of starvation. Earlier in the evening, I had spotted a pair of stegos. One was fully grown, but the other was a sub. As a young adult cerato, I couldn't handle the two of them myself. But as morning came, I noticed that the sub had become separated from its parent, and I, desperate as I was, had no other choice but to try and hunt it. The biggest problem was how close it was to the edge of my territory when I finally realized it was alone. I have to keep it on my side of the line, and I need to kill it quickly or it will escape and I will starve.
Ow. Don't know how that hit me. Gotcha. Can't believe I missed that.
I need to land more of these bites.
Gotcha. Oh, how did that not hit? It's ridiculous. Oh, that hurt. Yeah, that hurt a lot. I can't follow him any further.
Failure. A tail swing to the face in a desperate attempt to keep him back from the territory edge, and I've lost the hunt. Now I'm severely injured and on the verge of starvation. So close to full adult that I can taste it. But my journey is coming to an incredibly painful end just 20% too soon. Before I can even catch my breath and try to heal my bleed, a fresh spawned Trudon decides to harass me. It's not much, but dang, I'm hungry and desperate. Ever tried catching a lizard with your bare hands? That's what trying to catch a baby Trudon feels like. It vanishes into the grass, and I continue desperately searching for anything, hoping my bleed stops before I bleed out, hoping I can find food before I starve, hoping nothing else finds me before I can heal. Ultimately, I find some diet food. Or at least it appears to be, until I pick it up and try to swallow it. Glitched food. The only way to fix glitched food that I'm aware of is to log out and then back in. Until then, it floats annoyingly invisible in front of your face, making it difficult, if not impossible, to eat anything else. I'm forced to log out and hope against hope that by the time I get through the queue, there is something edible nearby. Approximately an hour later, I get back into the server. It's dark, but close to morning again, and I smell food in the distance. My hunger is dire and my health is so low I know I won't survive more than a couple minutes once my stomach goes red. I have to hurry and I have to hope that nothing gets in my way. I can't afford any delays. Land dinos. Of course it's always going to come down to land dinos. I eat as fast as I can from the tiny pile of bones and the compies standing around them. I've bought myself another couple minutes, but I need real food. There's something larger in the grass, but unless I get incredibly lucky, this dino is likely to simply steal the carcass and leave me to starve. I try to pick it up, not realizing how large it actually is, but drop it again quickly. I won't get far before the dino catches up if I'm dragging something so large. But when he turns back toward the water, I could dare to hope that perhaps he's willing to show mercy. My giddy relief at having eaten only lasts for a moment, until I realize how low my water has gotten. Back to the shallows. I am not going to take a chance on the dinos showing me any more mercy. They can keep their deep water. Food and water full, it's finally time to limp off to heal. I'm nearly grown now, and then I'll finally be allowed to leave this barren wasteland that is center spawn. Success. Challenge complete. Now, as soon as I'm healed, the real fun can begin. I got mostly healed up, and was feeling a bit hungry again. I could smell food, but it was being eaten by a rather large pack of Trudon. I haven't actually fought a pack before. I've been nibbled by one or two on galley, had one pounce me as a fresh spawn cerato during the stress test, but never had I faced a pack this large. I was aware they could pack a punch, but I was surprised at how quickly my health drained upon full envenomation. Once Pounce is fixed and Alt Bite doesn't snipe people constantly, Trudon packs are going to be truly menacing. Forced to heal again, while still being harassed on and off by the few Trudons left alive, I found myself in a sticky situation, as 3 more ceratos showed up. I was prepared to fight if they spotted me, but I knew I wouldn't last long when I was already at 60% health and alone.
Yes, go after the Trudons. This is not great. Please don't smell me bleeding.
Luckily for me, I wouldn't be alone for long. My friend Gluck had been hunting me for a while, trying to figure out where I was on the server so he could try to kill me. This trio of ceratos changed his mind, though, and we decided to team up, rather than fight to the death. We tracked the trio for a few minutes, watching as they ultimately decided to mix pack with a herd of stegos against a small pack of raptors. Oh no, we can't have that. Although they'd spotted us earlier, they were all too easy to ambush.
Ouch.
The trio panicked. Instead of teaming up to fight back, they began to flee toward their stego protectors, and then ultimately away. But not before we finished one of them off.
He's dead. Oh, is that one of them?
I don't know.
I don't know, he's dead now.
I was like, is that a raptor? Or it was a cerato.
We killed our fill and ate up before continuing on our way. After a long challenge with very little food and no good action, I was itching to fight anything and everything. Turns out that Gluck and I make a decent team on Cerato. We found the ever-growing raptor pack again later, and decided to see if they wanted to fight. It didn't take much coaxing. The pack raced around us in a chaotic dance, flinging themselves through the air without taking proper aim half the time.
Why? I just see his. What? Or is he like stretching?
When another Cerato showed up mid-fight, we decided to allow his presence. We'd seen him earlier, and the raptors were more fun to fight than a single fresh adult Cerato. As the battle wore on, I think my bloodlust began getting away from me. This wasn't a hunt. This was all-out war. Either the raptors would die or we would. And it wasn't looking great for the raptors.
Going.
The sun rose and the fighting continued. Raptor numbers were beginning to dwindle as the younger ones either backed down or died, but the adults fought on.
Yeah, they're so. Alright, there's like 3 adults on you.
Finally, one of the adults made a mistake and ran out of stamina. The war was over. The others tried for a bit longer, but eventually they accepted defeat, and we moved on.
Yeah, pieces.
Earlier in my Cerato's life, she fought a sub-stego that very nearly ended her journey. So when the opportunity arose to fight another, we jumped on it.
We gotta bait him.
We walk faster than he does. Yeah. You're in trouble now, buddy. Oh, I got a tail hit on me.
Got a headbutt.
Nice.
Ooh. Oh, that did a lot.
This stag was a bit better at timing his swings.
45. 45.
Ooh, ow.
What's yours?
I mean, he barely got me. I was probably down like not even 2%. Like there's no blood on my screen at all.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, he's pretty sure.
I didn't fare much better at the beginning of the fight. Ouch!
Oh, that did a number. I
It's fine. I'm still above 50%. Honestly, though, I didn't realize just how many hits this stego could take.
a dino? I see a dino.
Yep.
He's going for the stego.
All I knew is that he hurt when he did land a hit, and we needed to be extremely careful about baiting swings and timing our bites. In my attempts to bait out swings, I didn't manage my stamina very well.
Oh.
This is something I'll need to practice at some point.
Ow.
Despite that, I think fighting a sub-stego on Cerato is probably one of my new favorite matchups.
I don't like he's looking at us.
Nice.
If there had been more Ceras with us, Steg wouldn't have stood much of a chance, and probably would have gone down much faster. But in a duo, or even solo, it took a significant amount of time to wear him down and get him to start vomiting.
Did he hit me? Nope. I heard a sound.
Ow! Stop biting my tail, ding dong.
That hit me? Oh. I got him. I got him with the charge right now. He's gonna vomit.
Nice.
So do you have to like use all of your charge right?
All your bio? Uh-uh.
Or like one bite and he's vomiting?
Depends on how full his stomach is.
Ooh, that hit me. Nope. He's probably gonna go for the water for cover. If there's another dino.
Nice. Of course, once he did, there wasn't much more he could do.
Oh, he did vomit.
Did he?
I think.
Is that vomit? Sniff. Yep, that's vomit.
Yep. Yep.
The vomit lock is definitely something that I hope gets fixed in a future update. As funny as it is, being completely unable to attack because of constant vomiting isn't really any fun for the other player, and ultimately leads to Ceratos just rushing their target to keep it vomiting.
And the stego. Out. I heard. Yeah, he's trying to go to the water so you can. Oh, did I hit you?
No, I think we both bit him.
I think so. Yep, I'm still okay.
Yep, same. I'm not bleeding, which means you didn't bite me. Vomit again?
Oh yeah, I think he vomited again.
But I digress. This was still a fun fight, and the Stego put up a good one until the very end. I don't think he has any stamina left.
Nope,
Oh,
he's
he's
finished.
spit out some. That was a tail hit.
I can't tell.
He's like, maybe he's just not swinging as much.
No, I think he's out of. Yeah, I think he's out of stamina.
Careful. We're so close to the river, I don't like it.
Oop, I actually bit you. Oh, he's dead?
Got him!
Get it. Oh, just Dino, just Dino. Where's right
The
there?
slaughter continued for a while, as Gluck and I rampaged throughout the server, taking down whatever crossed our path, whenever we could. Dude, running away is just gonna get you killed. Ow.
Did I hit you?
Yeah, you just bit me right in the face.
Uh-oh. Oh, I missed that bite.
All good things must ultimately come to an end, though. And when we spotted some more mixed packers, I made a rather fatal mistake when trying to get the dino to accidentally grab his raptor buddies. Oh gosh. Oh no! Bite him!
Didn't I get him?
No, I'm dead. My charge bite landed, or ended right in front of the croc, and then I couldn't do anything.
It's just you and me, Troodon. You and I.
RIP! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and a comment. Let me know if you'd like to see me attempt more challenges, and drop a comment if you have any fun ideas for one. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing for more videos like this one. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next.